Hello and welcome to EMAR EVOLVE Talk. My name is Melissa Rebronja, also known as EMAR, your host. And today we have a very special guest, Bryan Reeves. Welcome, Bryan.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, Melissa.
Thank you for being here. So Bryan is a life coach, a mindfulness teacher, and a regular contributor to numerous blogs worldwide, including the Good Men Project, The Daily Love, and Elephant Journal. That's excellent, Bryan.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I've read some of your blogs, and I would say that they are really cool, and I feel like they are evolving us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exciting that thank you for writing them.
Well, thank you. I when I write, I stay very much at the edge of my truth, and that seems to be a good place for me to be sharing.
Tell us more about the edge of my truth.
What I mean is, so when I write, I don't write where I feel comfortable. I write where I feel like this is the edge of what I know. This is the edge of my experience, and so. I make sure that whenever I hit publish, I'm a little bit scared.
I see.
Like if I'm not scared when I hit publish, not nervous, then I haven't gone far enough. Ernest Hemingway said, it's easy to write. You just sit at a typewriter and bleed.
Yes, I love that. That's what we need.
Yeah, that's what we need. We don't need people playing safe. We don't need you playing safe. Got enough people
Don't
playing
play
safe.
Exactly.
Don't play safe.
Perfect. So Bryan has a website called managingthemagic.com, and you also you have a PDF that's available on your website, which is called This Wild Waking Journey. It's about conscious relationships and awesome living.
I've been blogging for a few years, and I basically took my favorite blogs and the ones that people seem to respond to the most, and I put them in a PDF called 58 Insights on the Way to Self-Discovery.
Cool.
Because that's what my writing is really all about, self-discovery. It's about, again, wow, looking in and looking within and going, whoa, look at that. Look what I see here. Isn't that fascinating or bizarre or interesting or necessary or essential or juicy, whatever it is that I find in there. And then just kind of turning it inside out and going, look world, look what I found.
Cool.
And the thing is, there's no original thought in here. There's no original emotion. It's like it's the one big shared human experience. I don't know who said it, but a life unexamined is not worth living. And I feel like all I've been doing my whole life is examining life and looking within, and there's a lot of treasure there. And in my writing, what I'm always seeking to do is, okay, where is that treasure? And a lot of times the treasure is buried underneath, some pretty scary dragons. It's like the mythological tales of the dragon. It's all a metaphor. Joseph Campbell wrote about this a lot. It's all a metaphor, fighting the dragons so that we can get the treasure, right? But it's a metaphor for the dragons that we face within. So in battling those dragons within, we unearth that exquisite treasure that ultimately just helps us to live the life we came here to live, help us live our truth. And really that treasure, as I relate to it, it is that deepest truth of who we are. But there's a lot of dragons guarding it in our minds.
Yes, that makes sense.
And we avoid those in all kinds of ways.
You are working on your first book, Tell the Truth, Let the Peace Fall Where It May.
That's right.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. It's a product of looking at my life over many years and relationships in particular, and just seeing all the ways that I wasn't telling the truth. Not even the big ways, not even big lies, but just the little lies, the little ways that I would try to convince myself that this is my truth when it's just not. Because usually I'm doing that to make someone else happy, or to have something I think I want, because it'll make me feel better, right? All the ways that we lie to ourselves and others to get what we want, but that we're not living in integrity with ourselves. And so tell the truth and let the peace fall where it may it's an exploration into what does it look like to really live an authentic life moment to moment to moment. right? And that when we tell the truth of who we are, it's like peace just kind of effortlessly happens. It may not look like what we want it to look like, right? But when we're living in integrity with our truth and congruence with our heart, life has a way of arranging itself so that it's like just breathing into this present moment in perfect harmony with what is. So that's what the book is about.
That's beautiful. Look forward to your book.
Thank you.
Yeah. When is that coming out?
I'm going to finish it within the next month.
Okay, cool.
And I'll probably release it shortly thereafter.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you.
So today's topic is healing the masculine-feminine divide. So the first question that comes to me is there a divide?
Is there a divide? Wow. Well, that's an interesting question.
Because most of my life, I just felt like a person.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was the outside world telling me that I'm somehow different from men. And there was a part of me that never wanted to take that on. I was like, well, no, I'm still just a person. So I would always try to do everything that boys are doing just to almost prove, well, look, I'm doing it too. I just never understood, like, why am I different? Because I'm in a different body. I'm thinking that I have denied my feminine because in my family and in my culture, the feminine, I felt, wasn't really celebrated or respected. So I might have wanted to relate more to the masculine in order to get recognition. I personally don't feel very different. Even in the car, I was with the cameraman, Fabio. Thank you. And he said something like, oh, women are so interesting. Like, it was something, and I said, but why put me in a category? Like, why don't you just say Melissa's interesting? So I just love it.
So is there a divide?
Yes.
In absolute terms, no, absolutely not. Rumi said, we are so connected that the word connected doesn't even make sense. Which is a beautiful reframing of this whole thing of separation, right? It doesn't exist. But I think in the day-to-day, the actual kind of the world of duality that we live in, where everything is kind of defined by its opposite, right? We can't define something unless it's in comparison to something else. I think that there is a very, very painful disorientation and disconnect. We talk about the war of the sexes, right? It's not so much that there's a war of the sexes, meaning man versus woman. And this is where, again, I understand, Fabio saying women are so interesting, and I understand you saying, why are you putting me in a category? I get both. And it's not that there's a war of sexes, man versus woman, but there is a very dramatic imbalance between masculine and feminine energies on the planet.
Yes,
and it has
I
been
agree.
for centuries, ages. And so there's this imbalance between masculine and feminine energies, and shows up in all kinds of ways. And so, the word divide, I use that word divide because I think it sounds good in the sentence, healing the masculine-feminine divide. And I think there is this perception of a division between, we think about it, the heterosexual community, thinks about it in terms of man, woman. But I know that there are a lot of people that get very upset when we start to talk about men and women, because, like you just said, why are you going to put me in a category? In this day and age, there's so many people that don't identify with, like you're saying, don't just, there's the whole transsexual community, there's the LGBT community, there's there's just it's like humanity is just in a range of expression of how it's showing up right now. But masculine and feminine energies, just like light and dark, just like left and right, internal and external, right? We live in a world of dualities. And for me, the what's interesting here is in exploring the masculine and feminine dynamic, we as a humanity right now, as a culture, let's say, we're completely ignorant. We're just completely ignorant about the forces at play in us. And what happens is, especially in intimate relationships, we just think, well, you have a body, I have a body, we should be the same. We should be talking the same. Why don't you think like I do? Why don't you think like me? And a lot, when we meet each other in the realm of our intellectual stories, and that is where so much pain happens.
Yes.
And there are deeper energies at play in us that they themselves, like masculine energy, wants something, and it doesn't want something like our human brain wants something, but it has a compulsion. It's just like light wants to illuminate the world, and dark, its wanting is to enshroud the world. Right? It's not a judgment thing. It's just that's what its function is. Same with masculine and feminine energies. Right? Masculine energy is that force that moves us forward. It's that thing that draws us to penetrate an experience, to cut through obstacles and solve problems and achieve a mission or get to a place. It's that thing that creates progress. And it's in all of us, men and women. And then that feminine energy is that thing that wants to be penetrated. It's the complementary. It's the thing that it's the flower that softens and just allows the sun to warm it, right? And as it just softens and opens and just radiates its beauty, right? It's not there to do something, to build a building or to get from point A to point B. It's just there to surrender to the moment and express its beauty without any necessary outcome attached to that. And so these energies are at play in both of us, and in relationships, when we have no awareness around this, we get into these conversations that are literally insane, because we're talking, especially if for someone who's carrying more of the masculine energy in a relationship, if I'm talking with a masculine orientation and you're receiving me with a feminine orientation, it's like I'm talking up here and you're talking down here, and we wonder why we can't communicate. And this is what is constantly happening in relationships. And so that if there's a divide, the divide is that we're on completely different planes of communication and perceiving. And obviously I'm speaking in pretty broad terms here, right? Because everyone, again, we can all kind of come in and out of these planes, but for the most part, again, in our culture, we overwhelmingly worship masculine energy.
Yes.
And
that needs to change.
Well, if it doesn't, we're destroying ourselves.
Exactly.
We're literally destroying ourselves. We're polluting our habitat because of our incessant drive to just accomplish, mission.
Exactly.
I mean, we're just so mission oriented. Everything, we reward the shareholders in business. In politics, it's not about doing what's right. It's about winning the conversation. It's about winning the war.
Yes.
Right? Everyone's just wanting to win for their idea. It doesn't matter what the holistic consequences are. And again, that's a very masculine orientation. So that's when I say it's a painful disorientation or divide. I mean, the stakes are really high.
Yes, I agree.
Both in the interpersonal level,
and what's
the divorce rate in our country is still really high, and it may even be rising, actually. So we still don't know how to really fix that or address that divide. We're still talking in different planes.
So how do we heal this divide?
Well, conversations like this one, getting awareness around it. I think twofold, women and just people who are really primary carriers of feminine energy coming into their fullness. I worked with about 80 women this summer, and one of the things that this pattern that I keep seeing over and over again is women in our culture. There's this thought, this drive, as though to be successful and survive in this culture, a woman really has to show up like a man. Right? She has to be much more focused about being productive. I mean, that's a big one that I saw. Women, particularly feminine women, it was very stressful, that story of, if I'm not productive, I have no worth. Right? And so I've got to succeed at business, or I can't pay my bills, whatever. I mean, that's the story our whole culture has.
Yeah.
But with women in particular, right, especially women that are really much more carrying feminine energy, I just saw that over and over again, that they're exhausted from having to play the masculine game.
Yes.
You know, we live in a masculine reward culture.
Yes.
So how do we redress this divide? How do we resolve it? And so I just started a project called the Thriving Woman Experience that I'm doing with another coach, a woman, a lady that coaches women, and she's a licensed therapist, and she and I created the Thriving Woman Experience because women are very disoriented. Again, naturally, masculine reward culture. How do I thrive in that? When I'm carrying all of this feminine energy, how do I pay my bills? Right? How do I survive? How do I show up in a way that this culture will accept and receive me and honor me, and make sure that I survive and can feed myself and my children? And that's a really challenging question, because our culture doesn't really honor the feminine yet, though it's changing. So the other part of that is, so the other part of that is kind of works in concert. So, Emma Watson just spoke at the United Nations, and she announced this campaign called He for She. And which is really fascinating. It's her invitation, and people have been talking about this for a while, but I think this was the highest profile that conversation has had, saying that women's issues, they're not women's issues. It's really, these are men's issues. Right, the things that are happening to women, the way that women are being denied education, the way that women are being harassed in the workplace, and 1 in 5 women are subject of sexual abuse as a girl. That's insane. So, this He for She campaign. So, part of the evolution of the masculine, of which men are the predominant carriers on the planet in humanity, is it's incumbent upon men for us to learn to really embrace the feminine in our midst, the feminine in our own selves. Men, we have a hard time being vulnerable with each other. We have, this idea that showing weakness is a bad thing, right? And men are we can be very, we're very guarded with each other, and so. And again, we're very oriented towards just outcome.
Yeah.
What is the outcome? Right? We're very disconnected from the feminine expression in life. Right? And so for us to really heal this divide, we need men learning to interact and embrace their own internal feminine, so that they can embrace it in the world outside. Because men are going to reject women and all things feminine as long as they reject it in themselves as well.
That's a great point.
It starts inside.
Yes.
Right. It starts with our own inner orientation.
Why do most men never grow up? So you said that.
Why do most men never grow up?
So is that true?
Obviously, men grow up physically. We all grow up physically.
Yes.
Clearly, we even grow up physically a lot earlier than we used to. That's a whole other conversation.
Yes.
Psychologically, I think many men in our culture do not truly reach a mature psychology in their orientation. Certainly not in intimate relationships.
Yes. Why is that?
Well, our parents are not usually modeling what that would look like. So we're certainly not taught it in any kind of school. It's the kind of thing where if you want to learn how to be a healthy, mature adult in an intimate relationship, you have to go hunting for it.
Wow.
You have to hunt for that education.
Yeah.
And usually people only hunt for it after years of getting it wrong.
Yes.
And oftentimes they still don't go hunting for it, because it's like, it's so easy to settle into that victim story of everyone else is messed up.
Yeah.
And if everyone else would just change, then I would be, just get with my program and everything will be fine. And especially in masculine psychology, there is that very analytical way of looking at things And particularly in relationship with the feminine, I wrote an article about that. Again, masculine, feminine, but I use man, woman, just it's easier for conversation.
Yeah.
But that men are not supposed to understand women. We think we're supposed to understand you because we're analytical. The intellect, the masculine mind, is a much more analytical approach, right? And when we don't understand you, which is always.
You just helped like a million men out there. Oh, I'm not supposed to understand.
You're not
Thank
supposed
you.
to.
So you're not supposed to understand
Yeah,
women.
take that in. Men, you're not supposed to understand your woman. Take that in. It's okay. It's very liberating. You're not supposed to understand your woman.
But okay,
you're supposed to love her.
Yes.
That's the other part
love
of that.
her.
I think a fully expressed human being has a full range of access to both masculine expression and feminine expression.
Mm-hmm.
A feminine woman wants a masculine man for a partner. Mm-hmm. And a masculine man will be in touch with his feelings, but he won't feel like a girlfriend. He's not going to want to go shopping with you, probably, right? He's not going to want to sit and do your nails and have conversation with you all day long. And that's not what the masculine. That's your gay friend. That's your feminine.
Okay, but you know what? I have had masculine men go shopping with me who also like shopping.
Mm-hmm.
So. Especially if they're Italian. Italians are so into fashion, and that's I like that.
Right. It's not just about shopping or
okay.
This
Yes.
Right. So it's about sexual polarity.
Yes.
And in any relationship, straight or heterosexual, homosexual, and whatever else there is on the planet, there has to be polarity. For this, it's just physics. Mm-hmm. There has to be some electrical energy flowing from one pole to the other, right? That doesn't happen when you put two masculine or two positive poles of a magnet together. They repel. They literally push each other away. It's the same in our own bodies. Mm-hmm. And it's just sexual polarity. It's just basic physics. That sexual polarity, it must be present. Now, it could work perfectly well that the woman is carrying the masculine energy and the man is carrying the feminine energy, and that works, right? Where the man is going to be more submissive, right? Where the woman is going to be more dominating and more kind of wanting to drive everywhere, or wanting to kind of make more of the decisions, and kind of just taking more of the direction of the relationship. Mm-hmm. And the man might be just totally fine with that. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that at all, and it can work and it can be successful. Where it gets challenging is when, and this is what is more common, I believe, is where a genuinely masculine person has learned to be in their feminine for maybe, for whatever reasons, maybe their parents, there was a certain dynamic in their parent situation where they were rewarded for being more masculine when they're really more feminine. Right, this happens a lot with women. Their parents wanted boys, and they treat them in a certain way, such that those little girls, they realize, well, if I'm gonna get love, I have to act like a boy. So I'm gonna act like a boy because that's what's gonna get me love.
Yes.
And so they learn to be more masculine in their orientation, and they grow up thinking, well, I'm just a masculine woman, and they're actually more feminine, but they're so far removed from that what happens, there's still this deep longing that never quite gets satisfied. Where this dynamic just gets funky is then you get into a relationship, you attract a more feminine man because you're energizing a lot more masculine, and that's just what polarity does. It attracts its opposite. Mm-hmm. And now you're in a relationship with a more feminine man, and you have this polarity, but something in you is still unsatisfied. Mm-hmm. Because the femininity that's still at your core is longing to be taken by a strong masculine presence. It's longing for a masculine experience of love, and you're with a man that can't really do that because he doesn't know how. Right. So I mean, this is where these dynamics this is where the awareness of these dynamics, I think, is so helpful.
Definitely. What kind of women do you attract?
The kind of women that I attract has really been evolving in a very interesting way, and the kind of women I'm attracted to, because I grew up with 3 sisters and 2 mothers, mom and stepmom. My dads were present, kind of, sort of, but kind of disoriented. I didn't really have strong, consistent, healthy, masculine role models. but I had these amazing female role models. And so I kind of learned to be really comfortable with feminine energy. I grew up really being able to express feminine energy and to connect with feminine energy. And so I would attract feminine women who were much more in their masculine. Because I was a masculine man who was much more in my feminine. It's kind of wearing a feminine mask. But I'm still a masculine man. And so I would get into these relationships with women, and it was remarkable. I had no concept really for what was happening, but I could tell these women are more masculine than me. And it never worked, because I'm still masculine at my core, and these women, they were strong in their own masculine, but they would want a man. They would want a masculine man in relationship with them. And they see that in me, so they'd be attracted to it. But the dynamic would happen is I wouldn't step up as a man to them. I didn't know how. No one ever showed me how to do that. And so, but they would be begging me for it, to show up in ways that a man would show up. But I'm kind of this feminized boy hanging out with them,
So do you know how to step up now?
Definitely.
What does that look like in your world?
Well, it looks like having direction.
Yeah.
It looks like having certainty about what we're going to do. It looks like being open to input, of course. I mean, that's in touch with my feminine, is let's look at consensus, but I have direction here. And it's allowing my feminine partner to relax into my clarity versus me getting to relax into theirs. I thought that I needed to heal with feminine energy. I thought maybe I just had such a dysfunctional relationship with the feminine. That wasn't the case at all. I had a dysfunctional relationship with the masculine, and which that really fascinated me. And so as I've been exploring that over the past few years and really connecting with what does it mean to carry a healthy, mature masculine energy, things have been, the women that I'm attracted to, I'm now much more attracted to women that are in their feminine, expressed in their feminine, right, versus wearing the masculine mask. And I noticed that feminine women are much more attracted to me now than they used to be, because I'm much more in my masculine and expressing that outwardly. And I think that speaks to is also a void in our culture where we have our boys, we have no thoughtful rituals that are initiating our boys into manhood. So we have boys that are growing into man bodies, but they're maintaining their adolescent psychology.
Exactly. I think so. You're helping women.
Yeah.
You're helping empower women with thriving
woman experience.
Which sounds amazing. Thriving woman experience.
Yeah.
So are you helping men at the same time? I know your blogs are amazing. So what are you doing to help?
Yeah, I've been resisting working specifically with men because men are.
Look, even your face.
Look at my face. My face is like.
Okay, so I'm friends with a lot of men, and the feedback I get, it's so refreshing to be with women, and they like women, and it's almost like they're pretending to be with guys, but it's so. This is so awesome. I prefer women. I can relax. So
I can relax because we deny the femininity in ourselves.
You feel like you can't be yourself with guys.
We feel like we have to stay protected.
Yes, and that's what sucks. Men. I think every guy is secretly hoping that his guy friend is going to go there and be vulnerable so that they can just be themselves. So they don't have to pretend. So I feel like there's work there that would help. Like, trust me, that other guy is just like you too. He's just not showing it to you because he thinks that it's not cool, and it's
totally.
So we need to work. We need to bring men together.
What we have is a lot of adolescent male psychology, and when that gets around each other, all it wants to do is goof off and make fun of girls and beat each other up, i.e. play sports, or just drink. I mean, it does adolescent behavior stuff. What we really need is mature men helping to bring these men, these young boys, into a mature masculine psychology. And that is definitely the work that I feel called to be doing, and I'm doing it through my writing, but I'm also I want to create online programs for men, do workshops as well. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? I just want to let everyone know that this is work that I'm so passionate about. I really see that the healing of humanity, our planet, everything is like this whole conversation about healing the masculine feminine divide. There's a lot of richness and healing available in that, And you can find me on my website, managingthemagic.com, or Bryan Reeves, Bryan with a Y, Reeves.com. I write about this stuff. It's, like I say, it's at the edge of what I know, my truth, and I think it just keep coming. Let's keep having this conversation. Let's keep doing this exploration. It's revolutionizing my world, and I want to just help everyone else experience that as well for themselves as it resonates.
That's beautiful.
That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for this.
You're welcome, and thank you for watching, guys. This was, I love doing this, and thank you, Bryan. And if you like what you see and you want to continue this evolution of consciousness, please consider donating at mrmusic.com, and we'll see you next time.
Peace. Thanks, Fabio.
Thank you.
Women are invitations to transformation. Hear me, fellas. Women are invitations to your transformation. They're the fires
I agree.
within which
I agree.
the man can come forth. That's some deep stuff right there.